Looking. Throws it way up into front court. Marino catches, shoots for the win!
Ah! Oh, he got it!
It's a Bluegrass miracle!
Oh,
Kentucky!
Oh, my! They're going to look at it. But the young fella, oh, man, what a great pass. And catch in traffic.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler, honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us. And you know what? I don't know if I've ever heard Goose go so crazy. There actually were more than three last night, but that was three from the men. Pickens for Ole Miss. Boopy, what a name. And he's a player now. Boopy. And Marino. Wow. Unbelievable night. So stay with me for a second. Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me and us. Stay with us. As a child, my hero was Mickey Mantle. To show you, my wife's in the next room, so she might hear it with my big mouth. Usually she's not around. I don't think listening to the radio. My hero as a child growing up was Mickey Mantle. Being the person that wears the pants in the family, I wanted to name our son Mickey Mantle. That thought lasted for Jimmy, maybe a second. I am not sure it did. You're smirking at me already. So my son is not named Mickey Mantle. Now, Kentucky has their own MM, Morgan and Marino. Really, what Tony Morgan did, you can't forget it. It was just the other day. That was an unbelievable shot. And she played a great game on top of it to beat LSU. And what Marino did was absolutely unbelievable. It really was. To play like dog crap for such a long time. What do they not have a field goal for 10 minutes plus or something like that? And then, look, Mo's got to understand something, and he doesn't, by the way. And Jimmy, you'll recall I complained about some guys like this last year and the year before and the year before. Sometimes the scouting reports are damn smart. And sometimes the players don't understand the scouting reports are damn smart. And when you have a guy named Mo, who is not a good three-point shooter, should I be kind here? And he's wide open, and early in the game, he throws up a three, and he hit air. And as he is about to shoot, I'm going, no, he's not going to shoot. The kid doesn't realize, and I say this with kindness, and that's where coaching comes in. But I don't think Pope believes in that. You're open, go ahead, take the shot. It's BS. I'm sorry, it's BS. You don't want to take confidence away from a kid, but look, sometimes kids are open because, the defense can't catch up, a defense makes a mistake and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you're open because the defense says, hey, Mo, if you want to take 10 shots, please have at it. And he aired it. Before we get into Marino, let me throw a couple philosophy things. Pope has changed. And you know what? If you're going to criticize Pope, and I've done plenty, you got to be fair, and you got to say the man has changed. And I don't know if he would have done this in the first few games of the season. With about 9 minutes to go, 8:56 or something like that, the guys on the court stayed on the court. Think about that. And he's saying, okay, you guys are doing well. We're going to leave you in. Did you see anybody with their tongues hanging out? No. So guys got together and they did it. And I got to tell you, with all the crap going on, the determination of those kids after, what do they have, 22 points, whatever the hell it was in the first half, was so awful, it was ridiculous. The determination of those kids to come back is off the charts. Now, you can't negate the fact that LSU's best player didn't play. I'm taking nothing away from Kentucky. Nothing. Because you could say, guess what? JQ didn't play and Lowe's not part of the team anymore. Not on the court for this year. It's a huge win. Now, at the half, I didn't think it was over, but I thought it was really bleak. And I don't know why I didn't think it was over. If I thought it was going to be over, I would just say that and I'd be wrong. And they started coming back. I said, maybe. That's all I had was maybe. The starting lineup. Think about what Pope has done. You put in Williams and you put in Yelovich. And what do you have? It's almost a totally different team. And I want you to think about that. Because what can Kentucky now do? Spread the court. They can spread the court. And they weren't spreading the court. And it's not all the team's fault when you have guys that can't shoot. Seriously. Okay, so Cam Williams was 1 for 3 from downtown. That's fine, but you got to take him as a threat. He was 16 to 31 since the Indiana game going into last night. You got to take him for a threat. By the way, stealing his dunk was spectacular. It was spectacular. He fouled out. He only had 5 points. I'd start him again. Seriously. But Yelovich, I thought, played a really nice game. I hope the heck they don't yank him. The 11 points was nice, okay? The 2 for 4 from downtown is really nice because now you got to respect him. Now the spacing happens. And he was 4-7 from the field. I thought he did a really nice job. He's got kind of a gangly toughness about him. To Owe. He's now becoming an NBA prospect again. He is. I'll tell you something else he did. He didn't even go to shoot around. And for a kid not to go to a shoot around and play 36 minutes and 40 seconds, he's tougher than blank. He really is tough. You can't go to a shoot around. You're not feeling well. All this crap that's going around. And I got to tell you, the shot at the buzzer that he hit, and I thought he hit, and I saw the replay, and he didn't, but it was really close. But it was a clutch shot. I thought he was really good. Didn't like he missed 4 free throws, okay? And had they lost, I had in my notes, Chandler, Owe. Because Chandler wasn't that long before Owe missed the first free throw. And here's what I didn't like, and this sounds terrible to some because you're going to say, well, you missed a free throw, they're all the same. BS. He clanked the first free throw for him. Not for me, not for Will Chamberlain, for him. He clanked the sucker. He really did. And then it was pretty on the second free throw. When I saw him miss the first free throw, I'm going, oh my, he's going to miss the second one. That might sound negative, but he missed it by that much because the kid's a good free throw shooter. Okay? And Owe needed to hit that other free throw. He really did. He needed to hit the other free throw. He did not. And I got to tell you, you've heard me harp on free throws all the time. I don't give a crap that LSU shot 67.9%. It's 68%. That's fine. Kentucky shot 68%. Jimmy, over the last now into the fourth year, how many times have I said if you're not shooting at least 75%, you stink at the free throw line?
It's been a lot.
Yeah. Now, you can call me old school. You can call me a heart. I don't care. They're free throws. Look, anybody can have a bad night. This is not a very good free throw shooting team. I think it's going to need to become a very good free throw shooting team. Am I questioning that they're practicing? No, I'm not. But they got to do better. They really have to do better. By the way, in the second half, they hit 78%, which shows you how horsepuck they were in the first half with only 50%. And how horsepuck they were shooting threes. They were at 16.7% in the first half. And 72% in the second half, 8 of 11. I got to tell you, I know what my pregame speech would be to these kids. Jimmy, tell them if you like it. Guys, we're starting with the second half. And this feeling out stuff or whatever the hell they're doing in the first half, everybody agrees with this. It ain't working. Be aggressive. Make an aggressive mistake. I'll live with an aggressive mistake. This standing around crap and not sharing the ball in the first half, it had to drive you as crazy as it drove me. And I got to tell you, I was wrong. I really thought they would start much better sharing the ball. I was wrong. I got no problem with that. I don't have any problem with that. And then they started to get together, and early in the second half, I'm going there sharing. Now, to Aberdeen. I'm going to be really strong with this. Jimmy, and I bet you remember this multiple times, not a ton, multiple times before the last game. For about the month before that, I said he stinks. Seriously. This is a kid who played for a national championship. This is a kid that I thought would take a step up. This is a kid, he stunk. Okay, and what did I say after the last game? I said that's the best game he played, and maybe you ought to be open-minded that he can improve a lot more from there. Now, did I anticipate this? No. You know what I really liked? Pope brought him out for the postgame with Marino. And I liked how Aberdeen handled himself. He had 4 and 1. I'm good with that. He had 4 assists and 1 turnover. 17 points. And where did the 17 points come from? Where did they come from? All in the second half. He had nothing in the first half. He had 1 assist in the first half. He took only 2 shots. He was kind of like, this sounds cruel, almost absent. 17 in the second half. And you couldn't put, I love Jasper. You couldn't put Jasper in. And he just went with him. Like this, put in 3, take out 3, all that crap. Stop that. And Pope is changing, which I applaud Pope. Kid had 17 points in the second half. And he looked good doing it. Duh. And so I'm going to stick with my point before this game. I don't know how much Aberdeen is going to get better, but I had a feeling he was going to get better and much better. This was quick. Go back and listen to my shows. That's what I said. And I love that Jelavic is in the starting lineup. I'm sorry, Mo. I love it because you stretch the court. It should now be, if you share the rock with Jelavic, Marino, Owe, Aberdeen, Cam Williams, the court should be spread a lot more. You can keep it spread with Chandler. Garrison is a sub. Diabate, you can't quit on, but he's off the bench for me. And Jasper, do I think he's got a shot at playing more against Tennessee? Yes. Not his best game. He was 0 for 4, played 8 minutes. It is what it is. He's a freshman. He had that kind of game, but I don't think he didn't play at all in the second half because of Jasper. I think he didn't play at all at Aberdeen. And if Dennis is listening, God bless you, Dennis. You know I love you, but I agree with the move of not playing Jasper, not because of Jasper, because of Aberdeen. So am I saying Final Four? Hell no. I'm going to tell you I don't know. I am going to tell you that Pope has adjusted the lineup. I'm going to tell you I like this lineup a lot more. I'm going to tell you if they start sharing the rock from the get-go, this is a much better team. And you know this. You can't keep on coming back in the second half like this and have a great season. Not if it's all the time. You just can't. I know that. Pope knows that. You know that. A lot of smart fans out there. You do. It's just crazy that you have Eminem, Morgan, and Marino. And by the way, I thought it was a great pass by Colin till we found out after the game that he threw it too far. And by the way, that happens. What I really like is he wanted to throw the ball. Cam Williams is supposed to be the guy, but he'd fouled out. And he said in the huddle, I want it. I love that. The aggressiveness. 9 points. He was 3 for 6 from the field, 2 or 4 downtown. But that free throw he missed really bothered me how he missed it. But they won. It's kind of a stat stuffer. Think about it. The kid played 24 minutes. He had 9 points, 3 rebounds, a little bit of a stat stuffer. He had 3 assists, second on the team. I thought overall he did a nice job. And he's meant for off the bench, which I was screaming about for how long? And I wasn't the only one. And Garrison had a minus 12. He had the worst plus minus on the team. Jasper was second with minus 8. It's a hell of a win. They lose last night, and I don't see how they beat Tennessee at Tennessee. I just don't. Could be wrong. Every game is different. I get it. But not to be concerned about the confidence of this team would be silly. It would be silly. And they have to get more confidence, and that goes by how you play and how you win, and you know all that. This is a team that has struggled. This team has had a lot of problems with confidence. To Marino. Holy mackerel. First of all, I don't want to sound like a homer. I just want to sound like me. I always want Kentucky to win, but I really push myself to not be anything but objective. I think some of the ticky-tack calls last night went against Marino. I really do. And this team generally has to do a better job of not using their hands. And I know Pope has talked about it. Move your feet faster. Let me give you something negative about last night. Jimmy, did you notice, and I know you did, that LSU spread the court? And this is another team that's not very good guarding off the dribble. And Kentucky had problems. And that's how a lot of the fouls happened, because they were getting by the Kentucky defender. Whatever it is, crouching down lower, moving your feet more, this reach-in stuff has to stop. There were too many fouls. And I thought there were a couple ticky-tacky fouls in Marino, but they called them. It is what it is. And so how about this? Just forget about that great shot for a second. The kid played with 4 fouls. He was in for the last 8 minutes and 56 seconds. That, to me, is a wow. He only played 20 minutes because of the foul trouble. He still had 8 rebounds, had a couple assists, had a turnover, had 2 steals. And one of the balls he went for, Pope had a comment after the game that he thought Fox was going to lose his mind. In other words, you're in foul trouble. Don't do it. We need you in the game. give Marino, give him credit. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. The kid is a stat stuffer as a center. As a center, a stat stuffer. That's beautiful. And I got to tell you, that shot that he hit, Pope said after the huddle, hey, if you happen to get it, you have time. What a smart thing for Mark Pope to say. There's a funny soundbite that we need to play. There's a funny soundbite where Malachi says no comment. So Pope, this is the good teasing after you win. You know, Pope says, there was a rumor in the locker room or something like that, how he put it. I don't remember exactly, but it's along those lines that you told Chandler, don't throw him the ball. And Jimmy, I thought it was cute when he just said no comment. So now you got a freshman who knows how to handle that. He did it with humor, and he said the exact thing. I thought it was a great comment. No comment. So he didn't even want the ball. So I don't know what the hell I like best. The lineup change, the spreading of the court. Owe, again, it's the most 20-point games in the conference for Kentucky since, I think it's Jody Meeks. But Owe being sick, gutting it out 36 minutes and 40 seconds. That's huge to me. Aberdeen, 2 games in a row. Really. And there's no reason why he can't, I don't know about scoring 17 points in the second half. Let's not get stupid here. But there's no reason why he can't get 15 points all the time. And he had a 4-1. That's big to me. 4-1. 1 turnover and 4 assists. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. And that Marino shot that everybody knows is 30 years from now. And I mean 30 years from now, who isn't going to be talking about that shot? Who isn't going to be talking about that shot? In the second half, Kentucky shot 65%, and I mentioned 72 from three-point land. Who the hell shoots more in the second half the way this team has been? Kentucky led for only a little over a minute in the game. That's crazy. Here's the little thing, and this is one of the reasons why I've been harping on the fact when Pope got here, what was it, 3 seconds or 3.5 seconds, or whatever the hell it was, you want to get the ball across the midcourt line by 3.5 seconds. They haven't done it, and I still say this. Okay, Aberdeen isn't a speed burner. Can he dribble fast up court? Yes. Can you dribble fast up court and then look to pass it up if somebody's open? Yes. I don't care who has the ball. Sprint with it. Sprint with it. Try to get as many transition buckets. It's a damn good team with transition buckets. They really are. They're really good. Kentucky won the fast break points 15-7. They've won the fast break points in every game this year. Think about it, some of the losses and stuff like that. And let me tell you what I put in my notes. I shouldn't. It's negative. I don't care. But Chandler's miss, always miss. And I thought he always rushed the second shot. And I thought Chandler bricked his first shot. After Owe did, I put Nazi 0 for 6. I love Nazi, but he was 0 for 6 in a national championship game that they lost in overtime to Arizona. Not blaming him for the loss. He hits 3 free throws. It never goes into overtime. It's one free throw. It never goes into overtime. And so I have always harped on free throws. It's boring. That's fine. I get it. I ain't changing. I'm not changing. It is what it is. Let's go to Marino. And Jimmy, would you be kind enough to cue up clip number 6? And you'll give me a thumbs up when you have it. Boom. Here is Marino. And everybody knew who has played basketball. This is who hasn't done what he talked about. I did it. I just had no talent. Here's Marino on his shot.
It's like being a little kid in your backyard again. Those are the shots that you just always practice because you just want to kind of have that feeling. So I think that kind of came to me today. But, that shot doesn't happen if we don't come out with the intensity we had in the second half. So, that's credits to all my teammates. That's the reason I got that shot.
There was a story floating around the locker room that as you walked on the court, you told Colin, don't pass it, go pass it to me. Is that true?
No comment.
Timmy, is that a great soundbite?
It's perfect. He said, I'm not answering without my attorney present.
No, but he had comedic timing, didn't he?
Yeah, the way he leaned in slowly to the microphone, too, was great.
It was really good. Okay, so let's get a different perspective. Jimmy, this will be clip number 3. And this is Aberdeen, who was on the court, obviously, and how he looked at the shot and what was going on.
So I was at half court, and then when Colin threw it and I seen Malachi catch it, he had like a clear view of the shot. So I'm like, I've seen this before. One time in practice, he hit a three-quarter shot from like half court, and it went in for game. So once he caught that like free throw line, I see the way he kind of shot it up. I was like half court, oh yeah, I knew it was going in from there. So it was kind of a cool moment. It was a great moment actually. No one kept their heads down. Like I said, we kept playing to the end, and shout out to Malachi, he hit a big time shot.
Yeah, he had a big time shot. Clip number 2, Aberdeen overall with a comment about the second half.
Shout out to Coach Pope. He got on me in the halftime, told me be aggressive, be yourself, and I just want to do whatever I can to get this win for this team. Shout out to everybody else, my teammates as well. They found me in the right spots. Malachi set some great screens for me, extra passes and stuff like that. So that kind of got me going, and then I think that opened up for everybody else as well.
I kind of paraphrase this, but Jimmy, please get clip number 9 ready. And you could see Fox doing this or anybody doing this. There's that fine line of being aggressive, but don't do something stupid. But you also have the adrenaline going on in the game, and you're just playing basketball. And sometimes you can't help yourself. And it might sound like a stupid play if it goes the wrong way, but you're playing basketball. It's a fine line. It's a fine line where if it happened and he fouled, he would say he did a bad thing. But I don't blame Marino because guess what? 1, it worked. And 2, he's just doing what he thinks is best for the team. Come on, he had two steals again. It's ridiculous. So when Marino had 4 fouls and he played the rest of the way, 8:56 with the 4 fouls, he almost got the 5th foul.
Coach Fox almost lost his mind when Mally went for a steal late in the game, and we gave up a bucket. But other than that, it was a brilliant game. And then credit DA the same way. DA sitting on 3 fouls for 16 minutes, 17 minutes in this game, and played the entire second half. And so our guys were really smart executing that way, and proud of both of these guys. And DA for his money, we just, we kind of abandoned all the stuff where we're using the width of the floor, and we just kept the ball in the middle of the floor and just put it in his hands a lot in the second half, kind of running the same actions over and over and over again. And him and Malachi were really creative in finding every different shot out of those actions. It was impressive IQ game for both those guys.
Yeah, I'm going to do a couple little tidbit notes. Pitchers and catches are reporting just around the corner, which excites me. And I find this kind of humorous. So the Reds apparently struck a deal with Xavier. Fine. Forgetting about that for a moment. So Bill Castellini, the owner's son, who really is now the COO, and basically, although Dad still has final say, Phil basically runs the team, and he likes doing upfront stuff. And so he's at Xavier. There's some people around him, and he's talking about the relationship between Xavier and the Reds. It's a 10-year partnership. Jimmy, he got booed. They spent so much money in the offseason. I actually like some of the outfielders they picked up on the cheap, but they actually have pretty good potential. But that doesn't give them a passing grade for the offseason. We'll get into that some other times, but they did a couple things that still make no sense to me. None. Zero. Kaput. I'm going to ask Hal McCoy to come on next week. My dear friend Hal McCoy, who I love having an excuse to talk to him. I don't need an excuse, whatever. Last note on the Bears. So one of the players said that Ben Johnson, the coach, who's been brilliant, has been holding practice outdoors with no heaters. The players were complaining about it at first. It's obviously starting to pay off. It obviously speaks volumes to how the culture has changed in Chicago. There are some weather reports that I saw. I didn't do a deep dive, but I looked at one or two quickly, that the wind chill could be -10 when they play the Rams. Do I think it's smart they're playing outside? I do. Practicing outside? I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I'm a huge Matthew Stafford fan. Obviously, he's gone to the Hall of Fame right away. Jimmy, you're an NFL guy. I'm going to assume you saw this stat. Stafford's last 10 games outdoors in either the rain or snow or bad weather. He's 1-9 with 16 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Now, the high is supposed to be 20 with 18 mile per hour wind, where it's supposed to be minus with all that, with only a 55% chance of snow. In Lexington, if it's 55%, I always think it's less. If it's in Chicago and you see 55%, you might be getting a blanket. It's Chicago. It's ridiculous. And the Rams are favored on Polymarket. I didn't look at the regular point spread, but Polymarket's where you can bet on anything. The point is this: how in the world could you bet on the Rams? I'm not giving – how in the world could you bet on the Rams? Can you figure this out with the weather?
They are not just favorites, 3.5-point favorites.
Are they?
So more than a field goal. And they played against the Eagles last year in the NFC Championship in the snow. Ended up being a great game. They had a chance to go down and win. But I think you could bet on the Rams because maybe you're just hoping – the Bears can't keep getting away with this. Caleb Williams playing like garbage for 3.5 quarters, and then finds a way to get it done in the end. Maybe that's what you're banking on, because the Bears, they did not look good for the entire first half, almost the entire first 3 quarters.
Yep. They looked awful. As a matter of fact, if you shut the game off after 3 quarters and went to do something else, you would assume that they would have lost the game. It was a great comeback. But you're right. I mean, the Bears, to me, are no different from Kentucky basketball. Kentucky basketball can't keep on getting in these big holes and expect to come back and win. Okay, LSU is not winning the SEC. And I made the comment the other day that I'm surprised McMahon still has his job. And the day later, the athletics director came out and said he better make the NCAA tournament. Otherwise, we're going to look at the situation. Basically said, you better get in the NCAA tournament. We're going to fire your Fanny. And I'm not saying he's a bad coach. And I am saying, he didn't have his best player. But you know what? Look at what Kentucky hasn't had their best players. Okay, coming up, Stephen Peek. And he did something yesterday that one of the beautiful family things you could ever do, Stephen Peek did yesterday. He's a really, really special guy. And you got to see it. And then David Sisk, about 10 minutes later, talking basketball. Then in the 1 o'clock hour, Gene Abel, a lot more sound, a lot of other things to talk about. Stephen, I'm telling you, I know you just came in the Zoom. We'll get you after the break. But what you did with your grandfather is absolutely, unequivocally, beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's a beautiful thing. I'll tell you what's a beautiful thing, too. Quantrell Subaru. Check them out. From the depths of Mama's Cave to the rugged cliffs of Red River Gorge to the muddy boots and long days in Daniel Boone's National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru with legendary, symmetrical, all-wheel drive, proven safety, and durability. Quantrell Subaru, that they are known for. You push farther, you stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, get 0% APR financing on new 2025 Subaru Outbacks through February 2nd. Built for Kentucky, ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details. And don't forget, we have the Volvo VC60, the hybrid. We love it. So they're great with Volvos. They're great with people and how they treat you and their service. They are great with that. and their Cadillacs are as smooth as you. The Quantrill family of funds. Check them out. I trust them. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hi, this is Patrick DiGiacomo, and this is why I would recommend Republic Bank. So, when the bank manager brought me over just to show me how their ITM works, he hit this button where an actual live person came on the screen, and she was so kind and helpful, and it just made me feel like, wow, I'm not dealing with just a machine, I'm dealing with somebody that's actually paying attention to what I'm doing, and it made me feel really good.
And that's how Republic Bank helps their customers go from living to thriving. Learn more at republicbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler from the depths of Mammoth Cave to the rugged cliffs of Red River Gorge to the muddy boots and long days in Daniel Boone National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru with legendary, symmetrical, all-wheel drive, proven safety, and the durability Quantrill Subaru is known for. You can push farther, stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, 0% APR financing on new 2025 Subaru Outback models through February 2nd, 2026. Built for Kentucky, ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
What?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday king-size candy bars. Buy one, get one for $1.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. My friend Stephen Peak never ceases to amaze me. Really, I didn't cry when I saw it, but I got emotional when I saw it. Succinctly, for the first part, you did, as I told you, we had you on, I think that was the first time. You wrote a story about what your grandfather has done for decades and decades and decades with the video and what it looked like. It was. Did you put it in for award and listen to me?
I did. I put it in for an Emmy in 2020. It did not win.
What? What the hell?
Yeah. I don't know. They said something about maybe I didn't put it in the right category or something. You know how that goes. You've been in the business.
Oh, yeah. I hate that stuff. Well, I stopped putting it for awards. Maybe my stuff wasn't good enough. I thought it was at times. There were a couple of times when you would win something, okay, but there were a couple of times, honestly, when you didn't win, you said, I had a really good story. That story was really good. And you're just honest with yourself. And there were a couple of times I saw some stories that were not nearly as good as mine. And everybody around me said, you know what, screw it. And I just stopped putting it in. But that's because it doesn't change your life. You're not going to get a raise or get a little attaboy and a little small. It just didn't mean much to me. Would have liked to have had no sour grapes. But what you did, tell us what you did with that story.
I was telling the story about how my grandfather has kept stats for Kentucky since 1974. Just randomly one day he said, I wanted to follow along with the game on the radio. So 74-75 season, good year to start, Alan. The team goes to a national championship the very first year he does it. And of course, within that same notebook, a few years later, Joe B. Hall brings home a national title in 78. The story, though, that I did was more so about how he used it as it was kind of cathartic for him, especially when my grandmother, his wife, Judy, started to go through cancer treatments. And then when she passed away, And as I went through them again last night, it's so difficult for me to go through them without getting choked up. Just every single page is just I miss you, Judy. I miss my best friend. And I can't even look at them without getting choked up and seeing how much he misses her and how much he loved her. And I used to go over there for games all the time as a kid. And he would be in his chair. My grandmother would be sitting next to me on the couch, and she would be crocheting, paying attention, and like keeping her comments to herself, because my grandfather's emotions during the game were always at an all-time high. Like it was, and so getting to experience that with him last night was so special. He doesn't want to keep stats anymore because, for one, he gets upset that the games don't come on when they're supposed to. So you miss the first half of the game, especially for the late games. He goes to bed early, and he's gotten older, and getting to his regular spot for every game just isn't possible. But I convinced him last night. I was like, I'm not going to Baton Rouge. I very rarely get to watch games with you anymore. Let's do one more game. And I'll be honest, Alan, when they got down, when they didn't only had one field goal through the first 11 minutes, I was like, Paul, I'm so sorry for making you do this. Last game, down 18 in the second half, things looked bleak, but what an unbelievable moment. Malachi Moreno, Colin Chandler making that play, and really, everybody associated with Kentucky basketball. I put in my tweet last night, I appreciate it. I know that it's just a game, but if you know my family, it's not. It's so much more than that, and it was very evident last night.
No question, fans make the program. Rupp started it, no question about that. But the love of radio and fans is what made this tradition. Well, you should have the video and send it to somebody. And I don't know if I'll retweet it again. It was crazy. How the heck did you have the foresight to have somebody videoing this when this was going on?
So I'm working on a video right now. The video was going to be his final game. And so it just worked out so perfect. So, I thought, gosh, this story is gonna end on this sour note of a heartbreaking, devastating loss, and really frustrating that I didn't think Owe fouled. I forget the guy's name. I didn't think Owe committed a foul on what would have been, I guess, the game-winning free throws for LSU, and then Owe misses that one, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be such a devastating loss. Ends up being the storybook ending. And we'll have to frame that final page of stats that he had, and it was so cool. And we're all jumping around, my dad and I, and I'm slapping high fives with him. And he kind of pushes me off of him in the video. You can see him kind of push me off of him so he can put down that final stat, which is a 2 next to Malachi Moreno's name. That's the final stat that he'll record of Kentucky basketball. And what a way to go out! Interesting, Alan. He started in 74-75, keeping stats, and they won the game 75-74 in his final game. I always love little, what do they call them, synchronicities? Is that the right word? I always love little weird things like that.
Wow. You just gave me a chill. Wow. Well, God bless you. I know Pope would do this for you. Have your grandfather's, book last night. I guarantee he'd sign it for you. And
that's a good idea.
And then, you know what? Frame it. Don't take the chance. Frame it. I mean,
absolutely.
Dude, my respect for you and your value of family is off the charts. It's just off the charts. Bless you, brother. Thank you for coming on a dime. I know you got other stuff you got to go do now. Hey, Tyler Thompson, thank you. Should I say thank you? Did she arrange the day so you could do 10 minutes with me?
Yeah. It all worked out.
Okay. Tyler, thank you. Is she listening?
I'm sure she is.
Okay. Well, Tyler, I appreciate you letting Stephen do this, and it's a beautiful story. And God bless you. God bless your family. And please get that. Matter of fact, next time I talk to you, it's going to take you a few days. I guarantee you, Pope will sign that and be happy to sign it.
No, yeah, we got to do it. I agree.
Okay, man. Thanks. Talk to you.
Appreciate it, Alan. Thank you so much.
Okay. Stephen Peak, that was just absolutely beautiful. Jimmy, let's go right away to David Sisk. And putting in my friend David, who we haven't talked to in a while. Mr. Sisk is teaching and kind enough to join us. David, how are you? And tell the world who you work for and what you've been doing. You got more white hair than last basketball season in your beard. Not that I would ever mention I'm really white. You got a little more white. I guess from talking to me, I've given you white hairs.
No, it's a stress in my life from being away from you, Alan. It's I I have separation anxiety.
I was, I forgot. I can't throw you a one-liner. You smack it back really good.
No, I'm like a dog when you leave the house, and I'm just waiting on you to come back, Alan.
Tell everybody what you do, who you're working for, and who you cover.
Well, I cover North Carolina with Tar Heel 247. Doing first time in, gosh, 10 years, I guess, and I've covered one team. So it's been manageable. It's been busy, but it's been manageable.
I'm sure you saw the Kentucky game. I'm sure you saw Boopy with his shot and Pickens with the other shot. And there were a couple gals who hit some big shots. Oh, my gosh. Some of the games have been spectacular. And there's no reason to talk about money and NIL. It was just really good stuff. And so I'm not going to mention NIL and money in our conversation. If I do, I want you to say, Cutler, go get your mouth washed out with soap.
Well, if you won't mention NIL, I will. So I was talking to a guy this morning that's an agent, and the Stanford guard last night, the freshman, he just lit them up, and 36 points. 9 assists, and basically was going to go to Harvard before he went to Stanford, and he couldn't. He didn't want to go there. Stanford. He wanted to play at a bigger place, so he had the grades. So they offered. The high school coach had all these coaches from Vanderbilts and other Dukes and other places that had academics to come and look at him, and Stanford was the only one that went, and they were basically like, "Hey, if you'll offer him, he'll come because you're the only one to look at him." And man, he's good. He lit him up for 36 and 9 last night. And the agent told me, he said, he's worth about $3 million right now. He couldn't find a taker 6 months ago, and now his NIL is going to be worth $3 million.
Wow. And Harvard has enough of an endowment. If they wanted, they could pay it.
Yeah, but he's at Stanford. He was at Stanford. I mean, at Harvard. He's at Stanford now.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah.
He goes in the port. Harvard got the money to come up with $3 million.
Well, Boca Corey, I'd say he's good enough. I from what I saw last night, it's weird. You get these guys that nobody ever even knows about, and as freshmen they come in, and everybody missed the boat. And I would say if he went in the portal, everybody in the country would want him, Kentucky included.
See, I don't see Marino ever going in the portal. He's a Kentucky boy. He loves This is his dream. But a couple weeks ago, and I wouldn't say a freak, but I kind of went, whoa. I can't think of who it was, had him number 20 in the first round. And I went, really? But I understand philosophy. If you're ready in 3 years and you're a team that has a lot of draft choices, you can hide a kid. But even at that point, as he was getting better, I mean, the last couple of games, obviously the shot last night, but playing with the 4 fouls, being mature, he's stealing the ball, he's getting rebounds. He plays like a big man, which there isn't a lot of, and you're getting more and more big men going back, being big men in the NBA. Fear is a bad word. I don't like it, but should Kentucky fans fear that he might be gone after this year? Or do you say, you know what, if he turns out to be a freshman All-American, well, he's going to help Kentucky win big this year, maybe?
You're talking about Marino, right?
Yep.
I watched him a lot, especially in the AAU setting where he's playing against other guys his size. And then I really liked him. And you can tell a lot of times these guys, they're going to miss and never have a chance. They're just you could tell. You're like, this guy can't. A lot of times with bigs, this guy can't walk and chew chewing gum at the same time. But you look at Marino, man, and he had good touch. He was big. I thought he played with some physicality. He was really good in the ball screen. He could pop and roll. And you never know. I think probably another year wouldn't hurt. But the thing about the NBA draft is they don't worry about that. You rarely ever see a guy that's 21 years old hang around. He says, if I'd have a really good year, in year number 4, year number 5, the NBA might want me. It's not that. They love these young. They want to get them young. So, I guess from what I've seen, probably I'm thinking another year. But man, I'm like you. I like him. I think he's really talented.
You know what? I always say this. I hope the kid does what's best for him.
Yeah.
I think he'll be much better by the end of the year, but I think another year he could be a top 5 pick.
He's got a really good head on his shoulders. You talk to him and he's got brains. He can articulate it. He's well spoken, well thought out. So I just can't imagine him. He'll have good people around him. It's just not a bunch of money hungry shysters. I just think that I think that he'll be really. I think he'll have sound people around him. I think he'll make a good decision.
He does have sound people around him.
Yeah.
Mom is terrific. His brother was a really good basketball player at EKU and had a great career at Scott County, and his brother is helping him out. And it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful family. So I'm not trying to get people uptight about it, but the potential is out there. But I really think, because he's so much stronger now than he was last year, but he's still not strong enough. And so you go to the NBA and he is not strong enough, even though he'll be stronger because the kid works. But am I nuts? If he keeps on improving with another year, he could be a top 10 pick. I'm serious. Maybe I'm nuts. I love his potential, and I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to end up being a really good shooter, not because of last night's shot, because he's got really good form. I really like his form in high school. I'm not going to tell you he's going to be a 3-point shooter like Karl Towns. I am going to tell you he's a much better shooter than Karl Towns was as a freshman here, because Cal wouldn't even let him take a 3. And I remember, he would hesitate, and he took a few threes, and they were awful, and Towns became a great shooter. Marino's got really good hands. They're just not strong enough. And I think he's going to end up being a really good shooter, and I think he'll be a really good shooter here.
I've not got to see enough of him this year. I'm in a different lane now, and I'd like to see more of him. I've seen it in spurts, and I'm like, man, he's not going to take a back seat to many in the SEC this year from what I've seen. So I would think, even with, and I know Quainton's with what he's going through right now, it's not a perfect scenario for Kentucky, but it's not like the cupboard's bare. So when I hear that, I'm like, well, I think Marino can handle his own just fine. You've got the advantage of having seen him, but you compare to all the bigs that's gone to the NBA through Kentucky. So I would trust your judgment, but I definitely feel like he's got first round potential. Or it can be a first round draft pick. There's no doubt about that. It's funny about the draft a lot of times, after you get through those first 10 or 12, you get midway and even get late, you'll see guys, where you're like, how in the world, like you said, how did they get in the first round? And then you'll see how others, you're like, why weren't they drafted? It seems like once you get through those first dozen obvious players, it's definitely not a science.
He's quick. He's athletic. He's a smart young man. He's got a feel for the game. And David, how many times do you see? Given season, hang with me, a center who can steal a ball away from a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Who does that? No, I think you're seeing a young man who's got, I think, huge star away from. Here's what I'm going to tick people off. He's going to be a better pro than he'll ever be a college player, because his best ball, as you know, probably is when he's, getting to be 24 and 25 and stuff like that. And the way he works on his game, it's going to get better and better. But I think while he's here, I think he's going to blossom into a big star.
Here's my question for you, Alan, because you said, you don't want to, give Kentucky fans anxiety. They've had such a smooth ride this season. I mean, why do you want to, and everything's just been bliss, why do you want to get them stirred up when everything's went so well? Can't you just accept that they're happy right now and they've been happy all year and don't let them be that way?
It wasn't on my list, but you talked to NBA scout. You're trying to cross crap for me. I can.
The big problem, you're taking me seriously right now.
I'm not. Okay, but are people in the audience? Yeah, and guess what? the heck with it. I can't help that because I know you talk to people. That's why,
Yeah.
you people who you can't tell me who they are because you've been doing this for, all kinds of years. You do the summer camps and this and that and the other, and that's a tremendous resource. Can you explain why the hell Kentucky sucks so much in the first half and can be so much better in the second half? I mean, you can't keep on playing like this and come on the positive end. You can't. They were so bad in the first half. I mean, so bad it was ridiculous. And it's not the first time they've been that bad in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, it's goofy. It is absolutely goofy what they shot in the second half. They shot 72% in the second half, 8 for 11. In the first half, they're 2 of 12.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't share the ball in the first half. They don't do all kinds of things in the first half. It's driving Pope crazy. It's driving the kids crazy. It's driving fans crazy. And I really thought I was wrong that they would come out of the gate sharing the ball. And then, when they score like one field goal for 10 minutes plus, you're going, this is freaking awful.
Didn't you see the same thing last year from Kentucky, though? How many times they'd be behind 15 or 20 and then make a charge in the second half? We saw games last year where they did that. They did it against Gonzaga. They did it against Vanderbilt. And I could think about several where they're down 18 or so, 20 at the half, and it's tied up with 14 minutes left to go in the game. I mean, we saw that, and I don't know. There's just something about the way they do that. They've done it this year. I've never felt at the half. I said they're going to come back because you knew they were going to make a run. I didn't know if LSU was able to hold on to it. And we had our grandson with us last night. He's 1 years old. So I every time he's around, whatever I'm doing, I sit it down and go to him. So I got back to the TV and there was 8 minutes left and Kentucky's down 5. And I said, they're going to win this game. And of course, now you didn't think it would happen the way that it did. But I just, it's something because the fit of this roster, last year it was so perfect. But when the injuries started happening, then it changed. And they got off to that great start and everybody fit the role. And I think since counting the SEC tournament and the loss to Tennessee in the Sweet 16, now the last 21 SEC games, if I've got that number right, I think they're 10 and 11 in the last 21 games, going back to exactly a calendar year to when they played Alabama and Lexington last year, starting at that game. But last year's, it just seemed everything fit together so well. And you've heard all this about the roster not fitting and the lineup not fitting. But then you talk about what you said or just right now, how yesterday they shot the ball so well in the second half. And what do most people say about the fit? Well, they don't have shooters. And then they come out and shoot like that. So it is head scratching, but there's been times that I felt like maybe the Indiana game laid down the personality for this team. They were going to have to be physical. They were going to have to be hard nosed. They were going to have some size, and that's the way they were going to have to attack it. And then you see them come out in games where the effort's not been there. So that's a head scratcher. But I don't know. It was a good win last night simply because you've got to win those. I think Mark Pope's just looking to try to get in the tournament. And you can't lose those games. That's a game you can't lose. Now, the win doesn't turn things around. I think their next game's at Tennessee, and probably a lot of people don't feel very positive about that. And they're going to lose games. But I think if you're Mark Pope and you're realistic and you're a Kentucky fan, you're realistic. I think this team right now, it's not about getting in a top 10. Every game, every possession is going to be a battle, a struggle, and you've got to find ways to win these games and try to get yourself into the tournament. And it's a whole new season.
David Sisk, I know you got to run, give a plug for everything you do, that kind of stuff. Always appreciate your time, and thanks for giving me a few more white hairs.
Oh yeah, man, you're my guy. You know that. So 247 Sports, and you can find me at Coach David Sisk on Twitter, and just listen to Alan Cutler, folks. It's a pleasure for me, an honor to be on here with such a legend.
Wow. Thank you so much, pal. I appreciate you.
You're my guy.
Have a good day. Thanks, David.
Hey, buddy. Okay. See ya.
Squeeze out time next week or the week after because I know you're busy as heck at school. So thank you.
Hey, I'll try to make time anytime I can if it's possible.
I know that. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
Jimmy, his analysis is always really, really, really good, isn't it?
He's the best.
He really is. Do you remember the show? And he had sent me a text after I had asked him to do the show, whatever date that was. He says, I got this thing. It's a conspiracy theory. It's not sports. Can I do it? Do you remember that when he talked about the JFK conspiracy theory?
I do remember that.
And he happened to know the guy involved by accident. And I don't go through the whole thing. One, it would take too long. And two, I don't know if I would make something factual incorrect. But this guy told the story from what he knew because he lived it during the Kennedy assassination. It was absolutely spectacular. So I didn't tell him this time, but I've told him in the past moment, hey, dude, when you got another story like that, it was riveting. It was just riveting. He's one of my favorite people. He's a sort of a Damon Runyon-esque kind of character. You know, Jimmy, when you go, and I never did it. I mean, I went to a couple of them. Let me emphasize a couple. But there were people like the Brandon Ramseys of the world that go to all these, summer camps and games and all that kind of stuff where it's a whole different world, a whole different society. But you can really get to know people really, really, really well. And some of his stuff that he comes up with is absolutely terrific. I tell you who's terrific. I'm going to get to see her today, and I can't wait. Terry Page, Terry Page, a great licensed massage therapist in Kentucky, in Lexington, Thursday and Friday, in Kentucky, Butler, Kentucky, on Monday and Tuesday off Regency Road here in Lexington. Please use my name. She's very special, and I keep on saying, because she's helped me so much for years and years, that in my opinion, she should never have an opening. She's that good. And I know this show has helped her, but I always feel guilty when she has any openings because the way she runs her business and family and stuff like that, she should be overbooked. And hopefully you trust me when I say that. She's been that good for me. I don't lie and I don't shill with stuff like this. Terry Page, 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Gene Abel, about 1:15. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for the Quantrell Auto Group, a people organization who have Cadillacs, Volvos, Subarus. Experience the all-electric and plug-in hybrid power vehicles. We have the VC60, the Volvo. We love it. Best car we've ever had. Dedicated customer service. Helped us big time with financing. A wonderful dealership, the Quantrell Auto Group. They've been terrific for us for well over a decade. I trust the Quantrell Auto Group.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
What?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday king-size candy bars. Buy one, get one for $1.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return. Refresh. Refill.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington. And LM Communications Broadcasting Station.
I won't hang up until you tell me you love me. All right, I love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Alan Cutler. He said he loves Sean Woods.
I feel the same. I've always thought you were absolutely the best and always enjoyed being around you. And
everything you said was absolutely 100% correct. Man, is this the great Alan Cutler? Is this the infamous Alan Cutler?
Of all the broadcast television people that I've encountered, you are among the absolute elite.
Cut to the chase has a 5-length lead past the 16th pole. Cut to the chase. Victor Espinoza to win it.
Continue doing what you're doing. You're really good at it.
Be nice, America. Let's have a great day.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Pope, 1996.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy. Yes. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, gratitude is a skill, guys, that if you practice, will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
First off, I want to shout out my teammates. It was down the whole game, but we battled back. No one put their heads down. We all played for each other. And LSU was a shout out to them. They're a great team. I'm proud of my team, how we came back, and everybody just stayed together, kept their head up, and I'm proud of us fighting for a win in the end. I'll take questions.
Aberdeen did the opening statement, and then he goes, I'll take questions. I thought he did a very good job last night, both with the media and playing 17 in the second half. It's crazy good. That's a wow. By the way, Kentucky, they've got plans for renovations at Kroger. They are continuing with their goal that Mitch Barnard has talked about. They need to create more revenue. So apparently it's going to cost about $25 million. They'll get $4 million in revenue per year. That's their estimate. Plus they have some debt service. And on top of it, what it looks like, there's all kinds of renovations to make it better. You got the seat backs in the upper decks, which I think is long overdue, and I know they've wanted to do it, so I've never criticized them with that. They were just, I guess you could call it stair-stepping it, doing piece by piece by piece, and I really like the fact that they continue to make renovations to Kroger and a whole bunch of other stuff. They have a new terrace-style back of bowl seating and all kinds of stuff like that, and patio clubs and scoreboards, whatever. But it's something that'll get more money, and I would assume the obvious that when it's done, Kroger will look a little better. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's very advantageous for Kentucky, and they need to keep on doing it. And I don't know if they can make it the best stadium in the Southeastern Conference. I don't see that. But, Kroger has needed renovations, and they've been doing it, and I think they were behind doing it. I think they were behind doing it, and they found the money, and they have been doing it, and piecemeal. And they've been doing it in a smart, logical way. See, Jimmy, did I say something positive about Kentucky?
You did.
Some of the people in Kentucky, you're just negative, and I feel like going blank, 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 blank. It's not true. People remember the negative, but, they expect the positive. Well, expect nothing out of me but an honest opinion. It's a pretty simple deal. It really is. So the excitement across the Commonwealth is off the charts by that. And I want to flip for a second, Jimmy. I want to go to the UK women because they play Florida tonight. And Asia Boone, I believe she missed all her shots the other day. And really good comment by Kenny Brooks. I think he told her something like, Asia, that was the greatest performance in the history of basketball or something like that for anybody who went 0 for 6. Because she's tough now. I don't care if she's 5'8". She's tough, and she'll fight for rebounds, and she's ferocious. It's been a wonderful addition. And so UK put this out. Here's a comment, Asia Boone, on the crowd at Memorial Coliseum.
I love BBN. Best crowd I've ever played in front of. They're so supportive. They're so loud. It just really fuels us. Like our last game against Oklahoma, that was absolutely insane. I think that's what really got us going also when we weren't making shots because we were like 34%, but we still were aggressive because BBN was fueling that energy and also us on the court. So I love playing with BBN, like on my side.
Wow. Do you like her maturity, how she says it, and her pattern of speech? What a wonderful young lady how she said that. I thought it was terrific. And I thought the crowd the other day against Oklahoma was absolutely terrific. And I stand by this. I was a little baffled. To me, watching a women's game at Kentucky, it's the most physical game I've ever seen that I can ever recall. I mean, and you know, Oklahoma was getting the best of Kentucky. But I thought it was interesting as they couldn't shoot, they weren't quitting and they weren't folding their tent. And then they got a little tougher and tougher. They weren't wimpy. No. I'm not going there. They were tough, but Oklahoma was a little tougher. I mean, that's just all part of the basketball. They're big and strong. They're aggressive. Oklahoma's a damn good team. They were ranked higher than Kentucky when they played. And then the toughness factor kicked in, and the crowd was great. It really was. And then Kentucky ended up being tougher. And they came back from a huge deficit to beat Oklahoma. It was great. And if I feel up to it, it's been a rough few days for me. If I feel up to it, I'm planning on going to the Florida game tonight. They're just fun to watch. They really are. And I hope they get to a point, and it's happened a little slower than I guess, but it's happening, and it continues to happen, where it's going to be tough to get a seat for a good team at Memorial Coliseum. And I do believe the day is coming. I think Kenny Brooks said this. I don't know if Mitch would go for this, but he'd like every game to be played at Rupp. In other words, as much as he likes Memorial Coliseum, the whole point is, can his program get big enough that you need Rupp all the time? That'll be fascinating, Jimmy. What do you think? You spent $1 gazillion. I forgot what it was, but it was a ton of money. You didn't just do a facelift. Memorial Coliseum is beautiful. The only thing I don't like, and I've said it, is there's not seat backs on every single seat. I don't get it. But, you know, the scoreboard, the seating, the this, the that, the other, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful arena. But, Jimmy, if the day comes, not this year, let's say 4 years from now, right, and you can't get a ticket, and then they start sprinkling, not the whole schedule, but maybe 4 or 5 of the what seems to be the biggest games on paper at Rupp Arena, where you got to pay a lot of money to get inside Rupp Arena now. It's not like you open the doors and it's free. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. Be a nice problem for Kentucky to have. And by the way, I can see the day, if Brooks keeps on doing what he's doing, I can see the day that they play a lot of games at Rupp Arena. They're 16-2 this year overall, 3-1 in the conference. Florida's 0-4 in the conference and 12-7 overall. The game's at 7 o'clock, and Kentucky's made a tradition of this, and I want to mention it because I think it's really cool. They do this every year, the We Back Pat game, which is to bring awareness to the research, the care and education about Alzheimer's. And they do a really nice job with it. And I think it's terrific, and they'd be applauded for doing it. That's using your program for good. It really is, and it's special. And anybody inside UK who's ever involved with it, it's just a really good thing. Let me throw this nutty thing at you for a second, Jimmy. Did you see this? Stephen Ross, I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's one of the richest owners in the NFL. That's well known. Do you believe this number? And I can guess where it comes from, but I could be wrong. It's a great way of putting it. He says he's been offered close to $15 billion to sell his team. $15 billion. And by the way, the day will happen that it won't be unusual for NFL teams to get $15 billion. It's coming. What are the Cowboys worth off the top of your head? Do you know? You would know.
I was just looking it up. $10.1 billion.
Okay. And the Bengals are probably around 3 or 4. The Cowboys make so much on the stadium and what they do and stuff like that. It's a printing press for money. But anyway, he says he's been offered close to $15 billion, and he doesn't want to sell the team because he wants to give it to his son-in-law, keeping the family. Isn't that nice that you can walk away from close to $15 billion?
Especially because the last time they were valued or whatever, like their listing right now is $6.1 billion. So that's more than doubling the value. You could if you wanted to, if this is true.
Okay, if it's true, and I have no reason not to believe it's true because he's supposed to be a pretty straight-up guy, but who knows in business. But the point is this, because there's so few teams out there, and there are so few teams that sell, if you really want the team, you will. I guess it's worth anything anybody will pay, but it's kind of like I'll overpay for it because I want to get in the boys' club. Well, there's a boys and girls club now. Can't think of her first name, but Irsay's daughter is now running the Colts, and she's aggressive. I like her aggressiveness. She's no nonsense. See, this is not, oh, I'm a female, I'm taking a back seat. BS. She's more aggressive than most of the male owners, and she knows her stuff. This is not a token thing. She's been around the game her whole life, and she knows her stuff. And by the way, and I think it's great. I think it's great. But you know what? If she would she was on an outsider and try to buy the team, I think it'd be difficult for her. Isn't that a terrible thing to say?
Yeah, it'd be very difficult. Carly Ursay is the main one. And then I believe there's another sister, Katie Ursay, and there might be another sibling, but Carly's the one that everyone sees with the headset on.
Right. She's it's great for sport. The world has changed, and things that have changed in the world should have happened a long time ago. $15 billion. Let's put it this way. In less than 10 years, there's going to be an NFL team sell for $15 billion. That's not much of me sticking my nose out at all. Could you see it in less than 5 years? I can, by the way. I can't. For example, I wouldn't think the New York Giants would ever sell. You never know. It's been in the family since, I don't know, the 20s or 100 years, whatever the heck it is. Okay. Could they get $15 billion now? Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? If Jerry Jones sold his team today, Jimmy, I honestly believe he could get $15 billion. It might be valued at 10, but could he get 15? I think he'd get more. I really do think he get more. That's how strong people with money. You know, it's like anything else. People with money, it's like a different level. Totally. Gene's in the hopper. Let's bring Gene in. Gene Ebel, my friend and retired sports editor of the Lexington Herald Leader, is joining us this afternoon. And I wonder what his reaction was last night to the game. I don't see Gene jumping up and down. I don't see Gene yelling and screaming or something like that. So, Gene, the ball goes in, and it's Marino. And I know you were glued to the tube. What was how emotional, you old boot? How emotional were you? You're not an emotional guy when it comes to, we both were trained. And let me be fair to Gene now. It was pounded into our head not to show emotion on press row. And by the way, some of these younger kids show more emotion than we used to. It was really pounded in the head. And I remember in the early 80s, did this ever happen to you early on when I kind of cheered a little bit? Somebody would come down, like Russell Rice came down a couple times on Alan, you're really not supposed to do that here. And so it's not like I was yelling and screaming, but there was a certain decorum that they wanted, and it's their press box. So you were trained that way too. That I know. So how much emotion did you show last night when Marino hit that beautiful shot?
I was trained that way, Alan, and it just that you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't jump out of your seat. It's nice. I'm probably like you, and that, of course, I grew up in Kentucky. I grew up a UK fan. I watched the up fronts, which that was great watching them get honored last week. But so, do I want them to win? Of course, I want them to win. And when you were covering them, when I was a writer or an editor, it's just more fun, and people are happier, people are in a better mood. So I was very glad when he made it. I enjoy sort of taking, I've watched that thing a dozen times since then. I enjoy taking it apart and watching it, but I don't jump out of my chair. We were trained that way. We can't, and that's just part of the way it is. But there's good and bad to that. When they're terrible, when the game's over, I'm fine. Move on to the next day.
Yeah, I move on quicker than most fans do too, the same way. We both are trained the same way. So this is interesting. I didn't yell last night, didn't scream last night. It was kind of like, I got a little rush, which is always good. My wife, Judy, she stayed up and watched the game. And later she said, I was sure glad I stayed up to watch the game, that kind of stuff. And she yelled, because I don't have that kind of training. And I've had some people criticize me going, why don't you cheer? Well, I'm not a cheerleader, but I always want them to win. You always want them to win. It's just, when somebody says you can't cheer and you're in a press box, you just can't do it.
Well, and like me, you've seen the good and bad, the inside, and it is totally different when you're covering it. But I enjoy sports probably more now or since retirement than I have in a long, long time.
Why? Because there's no pressure. You don't worry about a story.
Because as soon as it used to be, it was over at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and everybody's in a panic. Everybody's got to get everything in. You got an hour and a half to get a newspaper out. this person deciding, you're worried about getting this done. It's it's stressful. I mean, you get used to it, but it is very stressful. And you wake up the next day, okay, what are we going to do now? What's next? Now I just get to enjoy it and turn it off. I turn it on at 7 o'clock. I don't have to be there at 5:15, and at 9 o'clock I turn it off. And if it's a fun game, I'll stay on Twitter a while, watch people and see what they say, and just enjoy it, and then get up the next day and start again. And if I don't want to watch the next one, then I don't have to.
It's eerie how we are so similar. Just eerie. But I was kind of nuts almost all the time. I love the tight deadlines. Not every game was a tight deadline, but I love the tight deadlines. The rush, the adrenaline, and sometimes it got really crazy, but I really loved it.
Oh, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I mean, it was stressful, but when for a long time, for a fairly long time, I was just a writer before I was an editor. And the toughest adjustment for me from making that switch was the rush of sitting there at 10:30 at night and thinking, oh, I got 30 minutes to write this story and I got to get it done. And you sort of go, God, how am I going to do this? But that rush was what I missed the most when I went into strictly editing and not being a writer.
I can see that. It makes perfect sense. So it's a weird basketball team. Let me throw a few things at you and just throw it back. Pope has changed, and I want to compliment him. He played the same guys from 8:56 on, and he's now sticking with guys longer at the end of the game instead of just substituting. You see less of the 3 in and 3 out stuff, which would drive me crazy. I had made a comment months ago. They sometimes make substitutions like it's a hockey game, not exactly like a hockey game, but like a hockey game. I see him growing and developing. Let me throw in more and make a comment about both. I really like the new starting lineup because Mo Diabate, he can't spread the court because he can't shoot. He can't shoot. And you have Yelovich, who I thought did a nice job last night. He spreads the court. Cam Williams spreads the court. I have been saying forever that they're a better shooting team than they have been showing. I never said it'd be a great shooting team. And if you share the ball, they should get more open shots, and shooting is contagious. I'm shocked from a positive point of view that in the second half, I mean, it was crazy shooting 72%, 8-11 from downtown, and they sucked so bad in the first half. 2-12. I like the change in the starting lineup, and I like how he's sticking with people in crunch time a lot more. If you want to criticize, but then also point out what you think is positive.
That's a lot to take in. As far as the lineup, I had no problem with him starting that lineup. I think I said on your show a month before the season started, the player I'm most interested in is Cam Williams. And I tweeted for about a month about every game. I'd say, I think he's got a high ceiling. And some people said, what are you talking about? I still think he has a really high ceiling. I really like his game. He's got a length. They don't have a shooter with his length, unless it's Jelovich. But and he is athletic. I don't mind the lineup. I don't mean to throw rain on the parade. I'm not convinced that the problem is playing the right people as much as it is, do they have the right people to be a really good team? I think that was a wonderful win last night. It gives them a lot of confidence. And in the end, and when it comes to the bracket or getting in the tournament, that's a game. Winning it may not help you that much, but losing it would really hurt you. So it is an important win. It was against the worst team in the SEC right now, and they were in big time trouble, 18 points down. They didn't fix everything last night. That lineup didn't fix everything. That lineup got them well behind early. I do like spreading the floor. I don't want to pick on the kid, but I've not been a big fan of Mo's game most of the year. He gets his big stats against the weaker teams. When he shot that ball, there's a better chance the ball's not going to hit the rim than it is it's going to go in. And I hate to say that, but he's just wise. He's taking those shots. If he just get in and get dirty and play down low, that would help. But then that sort of crowds it up inside, which then cuts off the lanes for Oweh, and they need Oweh to be able to get downhill, and they need people standing on the sides that he can pitch it out to for shots. And I really like the direction Marino's going. I think he's starting to become a guy they can actually play through. And I'm not talking about because he made that shot, although the shot was incredible. The catch was as good as the shot. But just the whole, I think it was 220 in the game when he made a nice move and got a dunk to put him ahead 71-70. So I think Marino he's starting to help them in a lot of different ways. And, Nate Oates was talking about it. You give them to their big guys and they won't get rid of it. But even Oates pointed out Marino did have some assists, and to me, it looks like they're going to start going through Marino more, and I think that's a good thing. Jellicoe looked good at times. I think he's got a long way to go defensively. I think. What the other thing about that lineup is really big. I mean, Aberdeen 6'5", always 6'5", Williams is 6'8", Jelovich is what 6'11", Marino 7 foot. I think that length showed up at times last night.
Yeah, and I haven't mentioned that, and I'm real glad you did. Let me interrupt for a second. John Hale just retweeted that former UK running back who was suspended for the entire 2025 season has a new home. Jamarian Wilcox is going to Marshall.
Good luck, Jamarian.
Yeah, and he needed to leave, and plus Patterson right now is the third back, and I'm a big Patterson fan, so I think they're fine. It was time for him to find another place to play football, no question about it. Let's go back to the basketball game last night with Gene Abel, retired sports editor of the Lexington Herald Leader. I was tough on Aberdeen, and I kind of said at one point that he stinks. And then not last night, but the last game, he played much better. I thought he was better last night than the game before, but he played much better. And then after the game the next day, I said, hey, you know what? Maybe this is a start of something for him, because I really thought he'd be a very, very good player for the team. I thought he'd take a step up and that kind of thing. It's 17 points in the second half. That's crazy. And his shot looked comfortable, and he looked comfortable, with Pope after the game. Here's my point. Cam Williams had only 5 last night, but he's going to have much, much, much better games. Think about it. You're starting for the first time. You're close to home. He played at Tulane. I don't know if the emotions were part of it. Doesn't make a difference. He didn't have a great game, but that steal and dunk was absolutely spectacular. Owe has he couldn't even make shoot around. And now he's played 4 games in a row. He's now going back to me, in my mind, I'm not an NBA general manager, making himself a potential NBA player. I mean, his steal factor is incredible. I mean, how he played 36 minutes and 40 seconds being stick and 4 games in a row with at least 20 in the SEC it is terrific. And Jelovich, not great defensively, no question about it, but I like how he spreads the court. I do. He had 11 points, and he was 2 for 4. So, in other words, with Williams and Jelovich, now you have to spread the court. Back to your comment on Mo, and then you go from there. I've harped on this so many times doing the show. Sometimes the other team is pretty damn smart when it comes to a scouting report. I would bet you lunch anywhere that in the scouting report, LSU said, if Mo has a 3, don't guard him. I mean, coaches do this all the time. And so with Pope, he's always encouraging for a kid to shoot the ball. Sometimes you shouldn't. And neither one of us were surprised he hit air shooting it. First of all, it's in his head. There's no question about it. And he's wide open. Did you see anybody running out to try to get him up tight? No,
they're begging him to shoot.
Yeah, they've gone, please shoot. I don't understand why some kids, and I think coaches need to tell these kids, and I bet some do and some don't, that don't shoot a 3. Okay, there's 3 seconds left in the shot clock. Take the damn shot. That's one thing. But he shouldn't shoot that ball. He shouldn't. And if he's that wide open, then dribble in, try to penetrate and kick or something like do so, or pass the damn ball. And you knew he was going to shoot the ball, and you weren't surprised, and I wasn't surprised, and most people listening weren't surprised that he hit air. I don't get how players don't understand the simplistic part. I'm on the scouting report, and they're saying let the kid shoot. I think LSU would have been ecstatic if he shot, not that he would, if he would have shot 10 threes.
I think they'd been jumping off the bench yelling for more. It wouldn't bother me if he became the backup center and he and Garrison split time, whichever one's playing better that night backs up Marino. And he could slide over there still and play a 4 some, but in camp we go back and forth. You still got a lot of height there. But and maybe he'll completely turn around, quit shooting, and just do the dirty work inside. But even when he's doing it, I still think it sort of clogs it up inside.
I thought he was going to be much, much better than he has been this year, and I was wrong.
Yeah, I was hoping he would be, and maybe it'll still happen. I don't know. The thing that's probably disappointed me the most is I don't think he's been real good defensively either.
I thought he'd be a stopper. That he is not. He is absolutely, unequivocally not a stopper. Did you like the lineup for the last 8:56? Aberdeen, Chandler, Owe, Williams, and Marino?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. The you know, the Croatian needs to get in there some. He played enough to earn some time, but I'm perfectly fine with that lineup. The Aberdeen thing, I think, is a big key and it's fascinating. I'm like you, the last two games have looked good. I'm not ready to say he's the guy yet. Aberdeen seems better to me when he's not looking to shoot, and he actually seems to score more when he's not looking to shoot. When he's trying to force shots, which he has done a lot this year, he looks like he struggles. But if he lets it just come to him, he gets better shots. He's a really good corner shooter. Um, he is a bit without Lowe. Aberdeen is a huge key for this team.
Yes, he is, and he had 4 and 1 last night. 4 assists,
which is big.
It's really big. If he has 4 and 4, you'd say, well, that's what I expect him. But only 1 turnover from him in 34 minutes. I'm not saying it's the best stat last night, but I think it's an important stat from last night. And look, without Lowe, they only had 9 turnovers.
LSU's best player is generally the point guard who didn't play, right?
Absolutely.
That is something. And again, LSU is, to this point, LSU is the worst team in the league. So hopefully they can build from this. And hopefully Aberdeen can keep getting better. But they still have a lot of holes to fill, and they still have some issues. And these starts, I don't know what the heck that's all about, but that's got to stop.
It can't continue. You can't have success with these kinds of starts. It's just,
I mean, you tend to think that's a coincidence thing, or it's hard to figure out why that could be. But it's whatever it is, he's got to figure it out, and he's got to stop it.
Well, they've talked about it with the coaches among themselves, with the players and that kind of stuff. This thing about, what you hear, and I can't believe this is all the time, let's get into the game and we'll adjust and that kind of stuff. No, just be aggressive. And then if what you're doing isn't working, then you adjust to that. But the standing around and not sharing the ball early in the game just drives me, you get 1 field goal in over 10 minutes and you still win the damn game.
They don't start out like they think they're the best team on the floor. They start out tentative and like they're trying to feel their way through the game.
Well,
especially offensively. Last night, early, I thought they were pretty good defensively. The second 10 minutes of the first half, the defense fell apart.
I use a different word, but I think we're going to say the same thing. They don't come out with confidence.
Oh, I've said that here on your show many times, that I think that's the problem, is they don't play decisive. They don't play like they're sure they're the better team. They don't, and some of that makes sense because they started out as this team. Some people were projecting top 5. They had all these injuries. They've started struggling. I think that's been a roller coaster ride from the very beginning.
Gene, I want to talk a little football. I need to take a break. Can you?
I'm here, Alan.
Thank you. Gene Abel, longtime outstanding sports editor of the Lexington Herald-Leader, kind enough to join us. By the way, your voice sounds better, so you must be feeling better.
I am. How are you feeling?
Better, but not there yet. My blood pressure is way high.
Is it not going? Is it going? We're not. Are we on?
We're on. Yeah, I don't.
Okay. Is it going down?
No.
Well, you need to take care of that, buddy.
I know. And I haven't had a blood pressure problem, but from my problem the other night that I ended up in the ER, I thought by now my blood pressure would be not normal, but way, way down. Let's put this at one point last night, it was 188 over 100. That's scary.
Yeah, I'll take one. I've never taken any meds most of my life. Years ago, they just switched me to 1 pill a day blood pressure. I did. It's kept it straight. And sometimes when I go in the doctor now, or I've had to have a surgery or two, they look at me like, you only take 1 pill a day, like I'm not a freak or something.
Well, I don't take any pills, and I get the same response too. But the last 2 times before this issue I had, I went down to 111 over 85 and 118 over like 90. It had come down tremendously. And this just, because of what happened to me the other day, it just, some bad stuff is still in my body on a recall. And hopefully when it all gets out of me, I'll be fine. But am I concerned? Yeah.
I hope it gets better real quick. And can you tell it when it's high without having to take it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not a great feeling.
No, I've never had this feeling before, by the way. And I can't take deep breaths like I could have 4 days ago. So
yeah, you need to stay on top of that.
I am. Matter of fact, I'm going to, my doctor has been really good. I'm actually going to message him as soon as the show is over. Gene Abel, kind enough to join us. Back with Gene in just a second. Want to talk about my friend Ramon at Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist, acupuncture on Versailles Road. It's been great for me. I think he had like 19 needles in me the other day. Really? And he works on different issues, and the list is long of what he can do for you. Check him out. Please consider it. Your health is important. Please use my name. Blue Lotus Health on Versailles Road. Ramon Carriega, special dude, really smart dude. He's in another stratosphere with brains. He's really a unique guy when it comes to understanding and dissecting things. 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Gene Abel continuing, coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for my friends at Quantrell Cadillac. There's something unmistakable the moment you step into a Cadillac. The soft glow of the dashboard, the quiet power waiting beneath your foot. Every detail is designed to move you before you ever move. On the road, it's smooth, responsive, effortless. Advanced technology surrounds you. Performance responds instantly, and the world outside fades away. This isn't just driving, it's arrival. At Quantrell Cadillac, that experience is closer than you think, with exceptional offers including 2.9 APR for 60 months on select models. Luxury has never felt more attainable. Visit QuantrellCadillac.com. See dealer for complete terms.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
What?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday king-size candy bars. Buy one, get one for $1.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Kentucky, with Stein and his staff, now has 28 players in the portal. Some are obviously going to be starters. Some will fight for starters. Some are backups. Some might be players who might not play much, if at all. For example, Gene, tell me if you find this fascinating. You got a young man who apparently, and I don't know, but I did a little reading about him, Ben Reeves from Georgetown College, NAIA, 6'1", 240-pound defensive lineman, and he played 10 games last year. He had 3.5 sacks, a couple pass breakups, and forced fumble. Now, I'm not ripping the kid, but if he starts next year, I'll shave my head. That doesn't mean he can't be a really good kid to have on the team. I'm going to guess he didn't get a ton of money. I don't even know if he got a scholarship. I don't know if he got a scholarship. I don't know if he's what's called a PWO, a preferred walk-on, or just a walk-on. But it's kind of fascinating to me how this is being done. It's like they have leveled things out, and there are obvious starters here, and there are guys that really haven't played a lot at different schools, but they obviously think of potential. I don't know the exact number, but there's a whole bunch of kids who have more than 1 year of eligibility left, which means maybe you can grow and develop something. The thing I don't know is how many of these kids sign 2-year contracts. There are kids, as you know, signing 2-year contracts. The number, have no clue. And in a lot of these cases, I don't know about these cases, that you can sign a 2-year contract, and let's say you're good enough to go to the NFL, you can break it if your agent puts the deal together right. You can break it for the NFL, but you can't break it to go to Ohio State. There's things
Right.
that kind of stuff. But you have a feel, because most of these kids, almost all these kids, I don't know. I've done reading on them. It's one thing is pretty obvious to me. They should have a better offensive line next year than this year. A much better offensive line.
It's near impossible to try to judge the portal, and then when I've tried to in recent years, I don't think I've done very well in both sports. But I'm never real that I don't get that excited sometimes when I see Kentucky get a guy who comes from Alabama or Ohio State and they weren't playing there, and I see people, well, they're coming from the big school. Well, those are the teams that you want to compete with and start to beat. And if they can't play there, why can they play here? He's picking up some guys that were, especially on the offensive line last weekend. I think the Baylor guy maybe was a little before that, but he picked up 3 guys, one from Baylor, one from Ohio State, one from Tennessee, who were starters, either second team all conference, honorable mention, third team. These guys were successful players at that school. That's a whole different ball game to me, and that is very impressive. He obviously is getting some guys who won't, like one you mentioned, but guys who you don't expect them to start, but they'll fill in spots. He's addressed one of the biggest needs was offensive line. I still hope to see a couple of receivers get landed. I think they need that. He has addressed the defense, which needed to be addressed at key areas, and I'm glad to see a guy coming in with an offensive reputation does that, because the last coach that had an offensive reputation treated defense like it was a virus, and he's getting defensive players, and he looked like to me he's filling the need. Again, anybody that says they know all these portal players, they study this 10 times more than I do. But it's some nice resumes on this group.
Yes, I'm not going to study it either. I mean, I'm just not going to. I have no problem admitting it. But I'm like you. When you see a kid who was a really good offensive lineman for Ohio State and started 2 years, and he's a big man, I'm really impressed. And the Baylor kid, the center. And so I don't know if all 5 starters will come from the portal in the offensive line, but at least 3, and it might be more. And here's what we don't know. You keep on hearing that Malachi
Wood.
Yeah, Wood. Thank you. Should be good enough to contend for a starting job. He's been around now for 3 years. He's now much bigger and stronger. He was way too light when he came in. Everybody knew that he needed to put weight on. Maybe he is. The truth is, Gene, I don't know. But the truth also is you got to trust these guys. You got to trust these guys. Just like the way I look at it, they decided they didn't want Cutler. And Cutler had to do what was best for Cutler. It's a pretty simple deal. They want him as a backup. He wanted to start. He got a ton more money somewhere else. Stein has to pick who he wants. You guy's a quarterback guru.
If we can't trust Stein on quarterbacks, then Kentucky's in trouble.
Yes, and who the hell am I to criticize his decision to bring in Minchie? Who am I? I have no that. None. Zero. Kaput. I'm just biased towards Cutler, who went to a really good place, by the way. Arizona State, they got a really nice program.
Yes, they do.
Brought in some wideouts and stuff like that, and I bet he loves the weather, and he's moved on, which is the right way to do it. But no, I'm cautiously excited about this football team. And I don't know if that sounds too gaga, but that's just cautiously excited. I don't know how else to put it.
They had a couple of linemen they signed last year. I don't want to get into names or anything because I'm not picking on anybody who had success at lower levels. And sometimes you can get a kid from the lower level that succeeded and he really shines when he moves up to the SEC caliber play. But from what I understand, these kids they got in and they just had no strength to be able to play in that league. And I know at least one of them's gone now, and it wasn't anything against the kid. They just did not anticipate that. The kid got there, and were not physically strong enough to play at that level. That's a man's game in that league in the trenches. But these guys they're getting have already had success at those schools in that at that level.
See, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I'm okay with taking a kid from a lower level, but I think in recruiting, it's different once you get on the field. I get that. You should have an idea what the strength is and if it's good enough strength. And I think that should be a particular way of judging a kid. That's just me. I think you should know that. I think like you should know it's a personality. I think you should know if a kid's a turkey or a really good kid, if a kid's a leader or not a leader. I think that's part of recruiting. And if you bring an offensive lineman that honestly isn't strong enough, and you know this, there's some guys on a lower level that are really strong.
Right.
Really strong. So Gene wasn't making a comment on, coming from a smaller place, therefore he couldn't be strong. No, but I think you should know if the kid has enough strength. That should be one of the first questions, especially coming from a lower level. But that's me.
I would agree that they should know that. I'm just maybe it's a little harder at that position. I don't know, but I would agree that that should be part of their job.
Stein talks on Monday. I'm really looking forward to it.
Is this a press conference he's having? Just a end of the portal press conference? Is that what it is?
Yeah, and apparently I think he's going recruiting after that. So if it wasn't Monday, which is a holiday for some, but we're doing a show. If it wasn't Monday, it was going to be later on in February. So some media
has he had one since he was hired?
No,
he hadn't, has he? Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Hang on, there's a yes and no. So no in Lexington, but it was easy. I know
Right.
one getting tape when at Oregon and that kind of stuff, and it was basically Oregon stuff. But you listened to the whole thing, and there always was a bite or two that were applicable for us. Plus, it was just hearing him talk just to get a better feel of Stein and how he is and that kind of thing. And we played a clip the other day. UK put it out when he talked to the team about setting it up of what he wants and expectations and stuff like that. A nice job. I mean, I'm not going to, it's the greatest, things in sliced bread. He did a really nice job. He was organized. He got to his point. He said what he wanted to say, and I liked it. I thought it was good.
To me, he comes across very sure of himself, very decisive, a little bit cocky, and I think all those things are very important to succeed in this job. Then we'll start playing games and find out. But it's hard to complain about anything you've seen or what he's done so far.
I think he's very cocky.
He's been in a lot of football programs. I mean, I know it's high school, but Trinity doesn't run a football program like people think most high schools do. And they know what they're doing, and they're very sure of themselves.
Yes. And by the way, and I've said this before, when I say, first of all, I have some people talking to me. Second of all, that was my opinion before people were talking to me. Third of all, Gene, you know this. If you're 5'9" or 5'8", whatever the heck he is, and you actually can start a game at the University of Louisville on a major college level, you have to be cocky to survive. I think he's really cocky. And so if somebody could say, well, Cutler called him cocky. Okay, what's wrong with that? I think it helps him, by the way. But I don't think he's a little cocky. He's what some people have given me saying. He's very cocky. I mean, and
very sure of himself.
Absolutely.
You are not going to succeed as the football coach of Kentucky, and I'll guarantee you're not going to succeed as the basketball coach of Kentucky if you don't have some of that in you. I think that's a legitimate question about Mark Pope. Is he completely confident in himself? And you're not going to succeed in either one of those jobs if you're not. That doesn't mean you have to be a jerk or anything, but you have to believe in what you're doing and make quick decisions.
Would you question if Mark Pope is cocky? You don't think he's cocky at all, do you? I don't.
I don't think he's cocky, but what would concern me a little bit more than cocky is I think sometimes I'll worry that Mark, and I've heard this, is trying so hard to please everybody. And when you do that, sometimes you don't please anybody. And then you start to lose a little bit of credibility. I think I do have that concern. I don't think he's cocky. I think he's a very wonderful human being. That's not the same as being a great basketball coach, and I hope he turns out to be. But I think that is a legitimate question.
It's fair. Gene, anything else in the world of sports we haven't touched on, whether it's Kentucky, not Kentucky, or anything?
No, not really. I'm looking forward to that championship game. That Indiana story has just been unreal, and that guy's messed it up for every new coach for 10 years because everybody expects it. I mean, I get messages, oh, well, I want CC. I want CC. Why can't we get CC? I mean, that's just an incredible story. And they're just beating up on people. I mean, I said, what the spread in this game is like 3 or something. Nobody's playing them that close. Maybe it'll happen now, but they're winning easily.
And they run to the ball. They sprint to the ball. The guys on the second tier, where guys will sometimes do 3 quarters and then see what happens, they sprint to the ball. I love their effort, and I love their first step on defense. And it's amazing how many no stars they have who are starting and really good players on Indiana. No stars. I think
but they are a very old team.
Yes.
And this is it. They have not lost a fumble this year. No. Some of that is something you work on. Some of it is discipline, but that's a little bit of luck involved. It's play. How many games do they play now? At 14, 15? They haven't lost a fumble. It's crazy.
It's got to be a first in the history of college football. This is the number, and I re-looked it up because I wanted to get it right. 47 players between the ages of 22 and 25.
There's a big difference in a 20-year-old fella and a 24-year-old fella. They've been working out for those 4 years.
Huge. And the NFL has 140 players that are either 21 or 22.
I mean, it's an amazing story.
It really is. Gene, really appreciate your time. Glad your voice sounds better. Happy health to both of us and everybody out there.
Hope you start feeling better real soon, Alan. Take care of yourself.
Appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Dean Abel, retired, outstanding sports editor of the Lexington Herald Leader. Even though Miami is a decent-sized TV market, but it's not New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that kind of stuff. And Indiana is a small market. It's Indianapolis, but it's not New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, whatever. It doesn't matter that they're in Bloomington, they're an Indianapolis team, TV-wise and that kind of thing. Jimmy, I think because of the fascination of the story, and I think people love the underdog story. I wonder if you consider Indiana still an underdog kind of story. I think they still are. I think you're going to have a record number of people tuning in on television to watch the national championship game Monday night. You think that's nuts?
Oh, no, I think you're definitely going to get that. And I think they should be the underdog story till they actually win one. And I know they've gotten far. And maybe after they make it to the national championship like this year, maybe this will be the thing that puts it to rest. But yeah, I think it's just we can't get it through our brains that Indiana football is the best team the last 2 years.
Oh, I got it in my brain right away. Did I have it? Of course not. Of course not. About 4 weeks ago that I went, okay, I knew they were really good, and that kind of thing. But about 4 weeks ago, I'm going, they're just better than everybody else. Their intensity and their quickness. And here's the other thing. And he has mentioned this. He's brought I forgot the number, but he's brought a lot of assistant coaches, Jimmy, as you know, from James Madison here. And some of those guys have been with him a long time. And whatever the heck it is, he's got a hell of a staff. He really does. And that's a credit to him. And I saw a piece of tape a couple days ago where he talked about what you look for in an assistant coach. And every coach should listen to it. Seriously. And so what I think he's done is built an incredible organization. The other thing that still sticks in my craw, and I mentioned this the other day, he's his own general manager. He makes final say-so on every single player. He's picking out the player. And as he's getting ready for the national championship, they are getting commitments in the portal. They are. I don't know the number, and I didn't look it up. I just really stay in tune with Kentucky's versus everybody else. And on paper, Kentucky's doing a hell of a job. But the point is, it's incredible. Jimmy, somehow he's got enough time in the day. And I had said, honestly, that I thought it was ridiculous that teams who advance further and further get hampered by the fact that other teams can have their own staffs on this. And I still don't like it, by the way. But he's proving that it can be done. He's absolutely proving that it can be done. And here's the other thing. In the last 5 years, I think most people know this, the staffs of each school have gotten so much bigger with the, the offensive assistants and consultants and all that kind of stuff. You can now, very often there are teams that have guys that are consultants that were former coordinators but were out of a job, and they link on to another place till they get a job. You have enough people now that there's plenty of people involved who can watch tape of kids. You can. So I think that's changed it as well. Wow, Marino. Wow, comeback. Wow, that's a hell of a win last night. A hell of a win. And they got to play better in the first half. Everybody knows that. But Aberdeen 17 in the second half, and what Marino did and Aberdeen did in the cast of thousands, that wasn't a good win. That was a great win against LSU. Gene, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Stephen Peak with his story with his grandfather. It's about as beautiful as it gets. It really is. And David says sneaking us in between class. That's what it was, Jimmy. It was 20 minutes. He basically said, I got 20 minutes in between class. How does this work? Fine. Well, 20 minutes in between class. Why not? Matthew and Jimmy tomorrow at 10. Brad Taylor coming up next. Lord Whittle and I'll be back tomorrow at noon. Tell one or two friends if you feel inclined and enjoy the show. I appreciate it tremendously. This thing is growing word of mouth, and thank